Okay. What about in Arizona? I just want to ask you, he's going to that chips factory. Any plans in Arizona to go to the border and see for the situation for himself there?
So, look, I want to be very clear here. The president's trips tomorrow is about the American manufacturing boom. We're seeing all across the country, thanks to, again, his economic policies. Again, more than we have seen in his almost 2-year term. More than 700,000 jobs, manufacturing jobs, that have been created just here alone in the United States. So he'll be visiting at TSMC, a company making a major investment to manufacturing cutting-edge chips in Phoenix. This investment will bring new jobs and economic opportunity to Arizona, very important to the people in Arizona, and it's in large part thanks to the Chips and Science Act the president signed into law. And a historic, let's not forget, a bipartisan piece of legislation. And look, we should be able to reach a bipartisan agreement on immigration too. And that's what we're calling for, right? We're asking for Republican officials to come and work with us, and let's have a bipartisan agreement on immigration instead of doing political stunts, instead of doing what they're doing, going to the border, not actually coming up with any real ideas about that. That's where I will leave it. That's what the president is doing tomorrow. He's going to go to Arizona to talk about an important initiative that's going to change Americans' lives, specifically in Arizona.
Just a follow-up on Edward's question. If the president is not going to make time to visit the border during his trip tomorrow to a border state, will he do it in New Year?
Look, I addressed this last week about the president visiting the border. I'm not going to go beyond what I just laid out. I think, and we believe, the question again, as I was just answering to your colleague in the back, is that what are congressional Republicans going to do to actually deal with this issue? Instead of doing political stunts, many of the political stunts that hurt families, that hurt kids, that hurt children, right? That hurt people who are coming here to try to seek asylum, leaving a dictatorship. Instead of going to the border and talking about things that not going to actually deliver and keep our border safe, why don't they work with us? Why don't they actually do something? Why don't they actually, help the president get the funding that he requested, historic funding, into the Department of Homeland Security? That's one way of doing that. But again, they're playing political games and doing political stunts.
The reason I ask is just because the president had said previously that he hadn't had a lot of time to get to the border. He's going to a border state tomorrow, so you think maybe there would be time there. And if there isn't tomorrow, can you say at this point that he...
What I'm saying is tomorrow he's going to actually focus on an issue, a bipartisan issue that was voted in Congress, the Chips and Science Act, something that is going to deliver for the people in Arizona, creating jobs and making people's lives better and making sure that we are bringing manufacturing back into the U.S. That is critically important. Now, what I'm saying, the second part of that to your question, if Republicans officials truly want to deal with immigration, they truly want to deal with the border, then they would stop doing political stunts and actually work with us on the plan that we have put forward, which they are not. And that's what we want to make very loud and clear. There's ways to deal with this. Again, they can come and actually do this in a bipartisan way, just like we did with the Chips and Science Act. Go ahead, Weijia.
Has the administration decided whether to appeal the court ruling that ends Title 42 because the deadline is this week?
So I've been asked this question a couple times in the briefing room. This is something that, because it's a legal matter, is something that the Department of Justice will decide on, and I would leave it to them.
We understand that the administration is considering a proposal that would bar certain migrants from receiving asylum here in the U.S. if they don't seek asylum in other countries first. Is that a proposal that you're moving forward with, or are there any other alternative measures to Title 42 on the table?
So, look, we are committed to continuing to secure our borders while maintaining safe, orderly, and humane processing of migrants. That is something that we are committed to under this administration. This will remain the case with Title 42 when Title 42 is lifted. Any suggestions that we might be changing a policy or looking at a different policy is inaccurate at this time. I know there's been conversations about that. We haven't made no such decisions have been made yet. But again, we are committed to securing our border.
There was word today of an agreement in principle between Senators Tillis and Sinema on immigration reform. Is that something?
So we haven't seen all of the kind of the language on that particular bill, so don't want to comment from here. Don't want to get too far ahead. I know there is a drafted proposal, but look, the president has repeatedly called on Congress to permanently protect Dreamers, farm workers, essential workers, and others, and to provide them with the pathway to citizenship. Remember, the first day of his administration, he put forth a comprehensive immigration bill. So we are committed to working with members of Congress from both parties on real solutions to modernize and our outdated immigration system. So that is certainly a priority for the president, but we haven't seen the detailed proposal, so I can't comment about that from here.